Morning, Friday, March 17th, 2023. I'm still dealing with old school versus new school analysis. Which era in the 150 years of baseball prevailed? Old school, 1870s, 1949. New school, 1950, 2022. That's how I divide it up. It's me. Other folks may divide up the baseball eras differently, but I say two schools: old school baseball, new school baseball. I'm dealing with defense right now. Defense. Who is better? Or which era was better at defense? I was curious, so I did some research. I looked it up, and I'm dealing with Hall of Fame players exclusively right now. Do you know how many catchers? Let's start with the every position. Catchers. How many catchers from the old school era between 1870 1949 are in the Hall of Fame? 8 of them. How many catchers from the new school era? 8 of them. So a total of 16 catchers in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Do you want to know who they are? I've got it right here. I will go through it. All the catchers in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Ivan Rodriguez, new school. Carlton Fisk, Gary Carter. Rick Farrell, old school. Gabby Hartnett, old school. Ted Simmons, Johnny Bench, new school. Ray Chalk, Bill Dickey, Yogi Berra, Ernie Lombardi, Mike Piazza, Mickey Cochran, Roy Campanella, Roger Brejahan, and Buck Ewing. So you have 8 old schoolers and 8 new schoolers. First baseman. How many first basemen in the Baseball Hall of Fame? 26. 13 old, new school, and 13 new school. Who are they? Eddie Murray, Jack Beckley, Cap Hansen, Lou Gehrig, Willie McCovey, George Sisler, Gil Hodges. Jimmy Fox, Jim Bottomley, Tony Perez, Roger Connor, Orlando Cepeda, Johnny Mize, Dan Brothers, Bill Terry, George Kelly, Ernie Banks, Rod Carew, Hank Greenberg, Jim Thome, Stan Musial. Frank Chance, Frank Thomas, Harmon Killebrew, Pete Rose, and David Ortiz. All played first base, all in the Baseball Hall of Fame. So 13-13. How about second base? 19 second basemen in the Baseball Hall of Fame. 12 from the old school era, 7 in the new school era. Second base, Eddie Collins, Joe Morgan, Roberto Alomar, Nellie Fox, Charlie Gehringer, Bid McPhee, Bill Mazeroski, Nap Lajoie, Ryan Sandberg, Craig Biggio, Bobby Doerr, Red Shoshinsky, Billy Herman, Frank Frisch, Johnny Evers, Roger Hornsby, Joe Gordon, Tony Lazario, Jackie Robinson. Third baseman, 14 in the Hall of Fame. 5 from the old school era and 9 from the new school era. Brooks Robinson, Wade Boggs, Mike Schmidt, Eddie Matthews, Ron Santo, Chipper Jones, Pie Traynor, George Kell, George Brett, Jimmy Collins, Frank Baker, Fred Lindstrom, Paul Molitor, Edgar Martinez. Shortstop, 23 in the Hall of Fame. 15 from the old school era, 8 from the new school. Shortstop, Derek Jeter, Luis Aparicio, Ozzie Smith, Cal Ripken, Lou Kaplan, Rabbit Marinville, Alan Trammell, Barry Larkin, Pee Wee Reese, Hannes Wagner, Dave Bancroft, Joe Cronin, Bobby Wallace, Joe Tinker, Phil Rizzuto, Lou Bergeron, Archie Vaughn, Robin Yount, George Davis, Travis Jackson, Joe Sewell, Huey Jennings, John Ward. Left field, 21 in the Hall of Fame. 13 from the old school, 8 from the new school. Left field, Ricky Henderson, Zach Wheat, Lou Brock, Jesse Burkett, Ted Williams, Tim Raines, Goose Goslin, Carl Yastrzemski. Joe Medwick, Billy Williams, Minnie Mimosa, Jim Rice, Jim O'Rourke, Joe Kelly, Henny Manouche, Al Simmons, Ed Delante, Fred Clark, Ralph Kiner, Willie Stargell, Chick Happy. Center field, 17 in the Hall of Fame, 11 from the old, 6 from the new. Willie Mays, Tris Speaker, Ty Cobb, Ken Griffey, Richie Ashburn, Ed Rouge, Mickey Mantle, Hugh Duffy, Lloyd Wainer, Joe DiMaggio, Max Carey, Duke Snyder, Billy Hamilton, Kirby Puckett, Larry Doby, Early Combs, Hack Wilson. And right field, 26 in the Hall of Fame, 16 old, 10 new. Right field, Roberto Clemente, Sam Rice, Paul Wainer, Harry Hooper. Henry Aaron, Mel Ott, Tony Gwynn, Willie Keeler, Reggie Jackson, Dave Winfield, Larry Walker, Sam Crawford, Vlad Guerrero, Ennis Slaughter, Harry Heilman, Sam Thompson, Elmer Flick, Chuck Klein, Andre Dawson, Frank Robinson, Ross Youngs, Tommy McCarthy, Tony Oliva, Babe Ruth, Kiki Kyler, King Kelly. So what's the total? 42 Hall of Famers on defense in the Hall of Fame. 33 on defense. 42 from the old school era and 33 from the new school era. So old school wins on defense as far as games. So here's a stat. Well, in pitchers, I need to add the pitchers too, right? There are 42 pitchers from the old school era in the Hall of Fame. And there are 33 from the new school era in the Hall of Fame. So here are the totals. Old school, 135 baseball players in the Baseball Hall of Fame. And in the new school era, there are 102 players. Total of 237 as of today. What am I getting at? Old school has more Baseball Hall of Famers than new school. So they win there. How about in the games played? That's what I want to get to in this on defense. Who had more games played? Well, I did the research. There are, listen to this, 14,800 games caught by new school catchers. I looked it up. And there were 11,639 games caught by old school catchers. New school wins among catchers. First base, 17,609 games played by first baseman. New school first baseman, 17,609. But listen to this. 22,596 games played by first baseman in the old school era. Old school wins. In catching, new school wins. First base, old school. How about second base? 15,802 games, new school second baseman. 20,642 games. Old school second baseman. Old school wins. Third base. 16,647 games. New school third baseman. 7,595 by the old. So new school wins there, third base. Shortstop, 20,000, 3 games, new school shortstops. 21,637, old school shortstops. Old school wins. Left field, 15,741, new school left fielders, games played. 19,129 old school left fielders. Old school wins. Center field, 13,000, 19 games, new school center field. 16,874 old school center fielders. Old school wins. Right field, 17,459 new school right fielders. Games played. 24,754 old school right fielders. Games played. Old school wins. And in pitching, 24,483 new school pitchers. 21,509 old school pitchers. New school wins. All right, I'll recap it. I know it's a lot of numbers. As far as catching, there were more new school catchers that caught games played. New school. First baseman is old school. Second base, old school. Third base, new school. So it's 2-2. Shortstop, old school. Left field, old school. Center field, old school. Right field, old school. And pitching, new school. What am I getting at? As far as games played, who wins, old or new? New school, 1, 2, 3. Old school, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The score, 6-3. Old school wins as far as games played. Baseball Hall of Famers. Are you following me? I'm trying to analyze who's better in the field of defense, the old school era or the new school era. By looking at the stats as far as games played, old school wins. Next, I will do fielding percentage. Let's see who wins there. And then I want to look at chances. Then I'll look at putouts, assist, double plays, innings, and fewest errors. We'll add everything up at the end and answer the question. Which was a better baseball era? 1870s to the 1949 or 1950 to 2022? Stay tuned. I'm out.